Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lads and lasses, people with glasses, not excluding anybody in this, welcome along to the Mackem Football Show. As you can see, if you're watching this live, we have David the Doofus.
Hello.
Hello. Anthony Mackem, hello. Brad from RWA, I'm trying to point effectively, who's coming on camera. Hello, Brad.
Evening.
And, oh, it's so dark. And Jacob, aka Yorkshire Mackem, in the bottom right.
Good evening.
Good evening. We've got a couple of things to talk about this this fine evening, haven't we? It's very spooky. Your camera, Brad. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like you're telling a ghost story at a campfire. What happened over the weekend? Was it the weekend now? Oh my god! What? Whatever. I need to catch up. So we did the Sheffield Wednesday game. Then we did the next Mackem Football Show, and then since then we've played the Watford game, the 2-0 win at the Stadium of Light. So we've only need to talk about the Watford game today. We've all caught up beyond that. Dean, welcome along in the chat. It's been a long week. There you go. Look at that. I can actually see you now, Brad. How you doing?
Not bad.
So I think we've all seen a lot of reactions from other YouTubers and Red X with all of the fans' reactions to that game. There's a general consensus of how that game went, but in your words, Brad, how did you think that that Watford result reflected this current Sunderland squad?
Again, obviously we're off to a really good start of the season. Obviously the 2-1 defeats, I think it was, against Ipswich at the start of the season, and second game on the road, I think it was against trying to think who we played on the road. I can't remember who we played on the road. Who was it we played on the road? I'm trying to think.
When we lost Preston.
Second game of the season.
Preston.
Yeah, when we lost 2-1. Preston. That's it. When we lost 2-1 against Preston. But after that, this squad's just been amazing. The likes of obviously Jack Clark, well-deserved player of the month, by the way. I did mention it on my podcast last night. He went, he does deserve player of the month, and obviously he got goal of the month as well. So, yeah. But talk about Wednesday night, yeah, this is our point. Niall Huggins, really good goal. I think he swerved past 4 defenders and really took his shot really well to make it 1-0 Sunderland. Then the second goal from Abdullah Bar was just even more class. Even though it was just like a short kind of header, but I don't know how on earth he leaped left high. I think he was like about 8 foot off the ground, what we mentioned last night. I don't know how he done it.
He doubled his height, leaping for that.
Yeah, but brilliant goal from Abdullah Bar as well to make it 2-0 there on the stretch. But overall, extremely happy got 3 points in the bag. Move on to tomorrow's game against Middlesbrough.
I mean, we're literally 3 minutes into the podcast. We're not moving that quickly onto the Boro game. We do need to talk about it a little bit more. I want to get Jacob's thoughts on the Watford game as well, if you don't mind. What did you think to that performance, Jacob?
It was an ugly win, mind you. I think first half we weren't too great, and neither were Watford, if I'm being honest. But I think, but it was good. It was a good time for Huggins to score towards the end at first half, because I think it gave a bit of confidence in the team, a bit of a boost. And I think in the dressing room, I think Mowbray's like, no, let's do better than that. Let's get at them more and get into second gear, which I believe we did in the second half. And then we had Bar's goal, which is a beautiful header. Keeper's like 6'2", isn't he? He's quite a tall keeper, and little Abdullah Bar just beats him, doesn't he? And you know, and some of Watford's challenges, they should have had more than one red card or at least a yellow, because they were getting away with some dirty challenges, and I think ref could have been better, to be honest. But it's the 3 points at the end of the day. No matter how you do performance-wise, it's the 3 points.
Yeah. I agree with that. I didn't really pick up in my game review video much about the referee's performance in that game. And it is something we can whinge about essentially in this podcast as
Oh,
well.
Birmingham City 3, West Brom 1. There you go.
I was about to subtly break into that's all good. Yeah, that means the team directly below us drop points again, so there is a gap for Sunderland to build on tomorrow before the rest of the games. So really good result for Sunderland. As we're kicking on, David, I'm not sure how much of you caught up with the Sunderland game on. Was it Wednesday now? Was it Wednesday?
First half.
Yeah, and then you went to bed, didn't you?
Then I went to bed because I was knackered.
Yeah. What minute did you watch up to?
Oh god, I can't remember.
So, of the game that you remember watching, what was your thoughts on it?
Watford were being very, let's say, aggressive.
Yep.
I feel like they probably should have got a lot more yellows than they had. As Jacob said, I think they were quite lucky to not get more than one player sent off. I didn't see the goals, so I can't really say much on them. But yeah, I was pretty happy with how you're playing.
Yeah. Cool. I'll use that as a good synopsis. I'll catch up with everybody on the chat as well. Dean says we need to up the tempo against the Smoggies. We'll talk about the Smoggies game in a couple. Abby, hello. And Paul Graham saying Ball was like Billy the Fish when he scored. He literally leaped double his height into the air to get that in front of the keeper's clapping hands. It was a really good second goal. For me, I think the game was very pedestrian. We were slow, we were sluggish, and the goal was a moment of brilliance from one player. It was against the run of play. I don't think any team should have went into half time with anything from that game. It was, I think, kind of case in point as to why you went to bed, mate. There wasn't much happening. It didn't look like there was anything going to happen for that entire first half. And like not Paul says, like Dean says in that chat, we need to up the tempo. That was so sluggish. I don't know if it's because it is like so frequent between our other games, having a Sunday game and a Wednesday game, and now another Saturday game. We seem to have like the shortest gap between most of our games compared to the rest of the league. Yeah, it's only an extra 6 hours, or 3 hours in some cases, but time matters, rest matters, right? So the fact that we are still playing in games where we are sluggish, where we are a little bit off the beat, and picking up all 3 points for me is miles more important than the games where we smash in an opposition from minute one, i.e. the Southampton game. Yeah, don't get me wrong, beating Southampton that comfortably was quality to see, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day as long as you get the one goal in the back of the net. That's all. That's all that really matters. That's the one stat that everybody needs to keep a check on. It's really not upsetting, but it's more like concerning, should I say, around where our goals are coming from. I think I saw a stat and I reposted it on X about 16 games. Was it you that showed me that, Dov? David, sorry. It was like 16 games without a striker.
Yeah.
29 goals or 29 goals in 16
hang
games
on.
without a
I'm finding
striker
it. Give me
scoring.
a sec.
Our last striker who scored was Gelhardt in April. It's been months and months since a out and out striker, a centre forward, has scored for Sunderland. And the fact that we're fourth, 19 points, 12 goal difference, just shows that the striker's job at our club is kind of on the back burner. We don't really need it. Have you found it?
Where did I send it?
It was on Twitter X, I think, or was it like did you respond to mine?
Mm,
I can't remember. I know you were involved in the
possibly.
conversation. I know you were involved in the conversation.
I'll check my replies. Oh yeah, there we go. 29 goals in 16 games without a striker.
And what did you reply?
That's more than the bottom 5 Premier League teams have combined so far this season.
They so it's just a sign of utter confidence and ability in our squad. Latterfell. Sorry, while we're playing this game, the final moments of the Birmingham West Brom game are happening, and the Baggies player just pushed the Brummy player in the back because he wasn't allowing all out. But yeah, to talk about Sunderland really. So, what's your thoughts on the striker situation, Brad? I'll go to you.
Yeah, striker situation at this moment in time. Obviously, what the stats just came up. Yeah, well, obviously Mason Burstow's came in the summer transfer window. He hasn't provided a goal yet for us, but hopefully I can prove myself wrong. I hope he scores a goal tomorrow. But Nasri Russian as well. He'll be looking to get some minutes under his belt eventually. Lewis Hamia. Don't know much about him. Haven't seen him play as much because he's only came off the bench for like 78 minutes each game or so. So I can't really judge by if he's a good striker or not.
Did you?
But Russian, I can tell because he's came off the bench for a good 25 minutes, half an hour.
And Meander as well.
Yes, Eliza Meander, I don't know about either because obviously he's been out injured, but apparently he's coming back after the international break, what I've heard. But apparently what he needs to do is first is get some under 21 games, get his match fitness back up before he starts, obviously, for the first team.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. With 4 strikers or 4 out and out named forwards, do you find it surprising that there's only 1 spot for them?
Yeah, 2 minutes. Just gives 2 minutes, mate.
No worries. Acacia, welcome along. David, if you had 4, we've got 3 fit strikers. If you had 4 all fit and running, up and running, what formation would you typically expect to see from a squad?
Maybe a 4-4-2, 4-3-3, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think for Sunderland, probably a 4-4-2.
Just a classic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who would you start out of the 4 name people that we just went through? So it was Amir Semedo, Burstow, who's the Chelsea loanee, Rusian, who's the Ukrainian striker, and Mayenda, who joined from Lorient, or was he PSG? No, he was Lorient.
Okay,
I'm back. Right, welcome back.
I think Amir probably, and I don't think I've seen the other 3 play.
The fact that you've just said that, and Burstow has started the last 3 games and played 75 plus minutes in all 3 of them, is it's quite shocking.
Right, so not clearly not remember us, and probably not him.
No, that was Burstow was getting the 75 minutes, not Rusian.
I don't know. Maybe possibly Burstow then.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Acacia. The full-time result in the Birmingham game is 3-1. So that does mean we created that little bit gap without even playing. Nice. Jacob. Well, I can sit there. You got your icons to come off mute now. If you were to use 2 strikers out of our 4 available in that 4-4-2 formation that David's just recommended, who would you start out of the named strikers?
Probably I'd do Hamia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. I'm choosing between Russian and Burstow. I know Burstow's not scored yet, but maybe give him a bit longer and then probably maybe Burstow. But I could do Russian on a left or right wing, couldn't I? Because he's a winger as well as a striker. Like he can play striker, but he can also do a winger job. So
If he does a winger
Yeah.
job, he's got to take out Clark, Roberts, or Barr out of the squad. That's the problem.
yeah, or you could rotate it every week, couldn't you? Like change it up. Like you could 1 week you could do Hamir and
Mhm.
Mason, and then other week you could do Hamir and Russian.
Mhm.
So I'd probably do a bit of that. Really, give them all game time, do it fairly, bit of rotation at the top with the strikers.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
probably Mason and Hamir.
Mason and Hamir. So for me, I think it's a good problem to have more than more than no options up front like we had for a vast majority of last season, which is why we've become so comfortable with midfielders scoring our goals for us. Dean is correctly popped in and saying, and Burstow has played well over those 3 games, but he hasn't. He's got a penalty. He's assisted, and he just hasn't put the ball in the back of the net himself, which is what you'd expect. Mia had a really good preseason, and after the first game, his head seemed to drop a little bit. And Acacia adds, Hamia isn't going to get much game time. I can't see it happening as he's still getting used to Sunderland as his new home. I don't really know about that because I think as soon as you get the first goal, as soon as you're the Sunderland striker who breaks that duck, one of them will end up scoring. I think there's no no real doubt about it. It's just when, and whoever does that first goal out of the 4 of them, pretty much is then the top dog of the 4. They are the one that needs to be beaten. They're the one that the rest of the Sunderland fans are going to be comparing against. Rusian can break into the box just like Clark, or Burstow holds up the ball like Bellingham and provides options. Like, we'll see as soon as that first goal comes in. But if you're asking me who would I pick today out of the top 2 and both of them starting, it would be Rusian and Burstow, with Hamir coming on in like the 70th minute to replace Burstow. I'd like to see Rusian start. I know he doesn't speak great English, but if he starts, I think he scores. And there you go. Acacia also adds, Mason and Rusian will definitely get more game time when Rusian does try to get used to his new home in Sunderland. So with the modern game, I know there's a little bit of homesickness involved with some players. The language barrier doesn't help with the likes of Rusian or Hamir or Mayenda for that regard, but it does help that other players in the club speak their native language, and they've got that little bit of cushion into it. You think language is a barrier? Whoever wants to chip in on that.
I think
Think it-
language is the barrier for most clubs.
What, in the modern game?
Well, I mean, football is such a massive thing across the world. You got teams with I was going to take Liverpool for example because
That's
I
your
know
team.
Liverpool squad. Yeah, like for instance, we've got Nunez who can barely speak English. I know he's trying to learn it, but it's just there's always going to be some kind of language barrier between teammates because you're going to get people who speak English, you're going to get people who speak Spanish, you're going to get people who speak French, German, So you're always going to have that kind of barrier between people, which can cause issues, but that's why people train, right?
Yeah. They train together. They get to learn how each other play. I think they're all at a level where you'd expect that level of professionalism regardless of language, which is why I think Rusian will do well regardless, because it's one of those things where you've got to expect him to perform based on his CV, essentially. Football CV.
Realistically, he's a footballer.
Mhm.
You're going to expect him to be playing football, not speaking too much, So,
what's the
whilst
basics?
communication, whilst communication is pretty important, I would say it's not if you can't speak a lot of English, it's not the worst thing in the world. But
I think as long as it's like dog speak, really, isn't it? It's like a couple of words:
yeah,
pass, mark, defend, push, like that. It's literally one word and then like a finger point to cover a lot of those issues. So if you learn the word pass in Ukrainian or Portuguese or French or whatever, it's it's pretty simple and easy to understand. Like pass and then point to the person you want to pass it to. Like it's not rocket science. So communication of like nuance of tactics with the halftime team talk, that I think is where it gets lost, because you've got Mowbray giving the team talk to everybody, but if he needs to kick people up the arse, then you've got translators doing it as well, and that's the kind of communication I think does change games. Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with what you and Dav say. I think so long as they know words such as pass, all that, then
Mhm.
it's good. But also, if they want to, outside of football, I guess, if they want to get to know the players more, they might have to learn a bit more words, though. But I think they do have, of course, translators at the clubs who will help them improve and get better. But main thing is, if they play for the club and play for the badge and are not just there for the money, I think that's the main thing. And if they're good at the job.
Yeah, I think we've kicked that out of our culture now, to be honest. We're a club that people are there to develop at and to improve their career. Brad? You all right?
Sorry. That mute button. What were you saying, sorry, Amf?
We're talking about the language barrier. I could see you on the phone. So
Language barriers.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just messaging somebody. Still apologise. But language barriers, language barriers are good in football clubs, because that other player can actually help that player communicate, if you know what I mean.
It's like a secret language, secret kind of code on the pitch. Is that what you're getting at?
Like, so apparently Russian, apparently someone can talk the same language as him, I think, in our Sunderland camp. I think
In the academy, yeah.
Remember rightly, it's Timo Turbatov. Remember rightly,
Yeah,
he can speak Ukrainian as well.
Yeah.
So,
Well, to be fair, we've kind of got a French outfit as well. Robin Hood, welcome along. I think we've got pretty much like a fully fluent French starting, not a starting 11, but like a starting like pack in the middle of the pitch. You've got Abdullah Bar. You might have Mayenda at some point. You've got Oshish. You have Elise when he's back. Yeah, we've got French players galore at the minute, and Ekwar as well. Yeah, sorry, I forget he's French because his English is that good. Yeah, so I do think it does benefit some teams, and yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's part of the modern game. We've got to just get used to it, and it doesn't really impact Sunderland all that much. I think everybody that's in the Sunderland shirt wants to play for the Sunderland shirt now, which is really nice change to our last decade, shall we say? But yeah, we have had a question from Cabby. I want you all off mute at the same time for this question, just so you're aware and ready to react, if that's okay. You ready?
Mhm.
Will you take a
Go
point tomorrow?
Fuck off.
fuck off.
So we'll move on to the Middlesbrough game now. We have the Smoggies, who all of a sudden have found form. They've climbed from basically the same form as Sheffield Wednesday up into 17th in this league. 3 wins, 4 wins if you count the cup game in a row. A complete culture change in the last 2 weeks of their game. What's your thoughts on the game? The upcoming game, sorry.
It's going to be tight, innit? Because it's a northeast. What was it we saying? Derby, would you say?
The derby versus rivalry conversation. It is a derby. It is 100% a derby, but it's not a rivalry. That's the way I'll phrase it. Derbies and rivalries are 2 different things. It's a northeast derby. We're in close proximity, but we really don't care long term about the battles between Sunderland and Middlesbrough. It's all about the dirty team, slightly like 2 miles further north and 7 miles inland from us.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Middlesbrough will be up for it and slowly starting to pick up some points. So
Mhm.
No game's easy, is it? But especially tomorrow, it's because northeast, two northeast clubs.
Mhm.
Boro will be up for it, but I'd be more nervous if it was at the Riverside, though. If I'm being honest, but I think we will beat them tomorrow. Because I am more relaxed that it's at the stadium, than I would be if it were at Riverside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll win.
Uh, what-
2-1.
2-1. Okay. So Ted's popped in with his classic 6-0 Sunderland. I'd love to see a 6-0 Sunderland against any team, never mind just Boro. They would find their form leading up to our matchup. There's Robin. What are your thoughts, Brad, going into the game? You're off mute already.
Yeah.
Just composing your
Um,
thoughts into a good sentence.
Yeah, I'm just composing my thoughts. Just thinking.
Okay.
Oh, what up against Moggies, who's had like 3? I think they've had 3 wins on the bounce now, haven't they? Middlesbrough. So it's going to be a tough one. Obviously tomorrow. But what I don't know if Yorkshire said it or David said it, but I'd be more bloody nervous if it was at their stadium until Riverside. I'd be more nervous today because Middlesbrough's got a good home form in the past couple of times against us as well. Obviously, one was 1-0, and I think it was 3-0 the last times, and 2-1 to them. So they've had a couple of good results against us down at Riverside, but
Mhm.
not about stadium like more than Riverside because obviously they're facing us at our stadium first. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty confident that we can go in and win this, to be honest. For our squad, what we've got fit. Obviously Alex Pritchard. He won't be starting this game apparently, according to Tony Mowbray. Apparently he's not going to risk him.
Yeah.
Oshish, apparently he has to wait for his start apparently. But he will get it. Tony Mowbray said. Mason Burstow will be probably looking to start up front again tomorrow apparently. Even though I want Russin to start, but who knows what will happen? That could change. But my score prediction tomorrow is going to be 2-1 to the Black Cats.
Okay. I'd still like to see us win. I some good points there, and I think it's kind of backed up a little bit by what Croissant said in the chat and what Acacia's saying as well. So Croissant says they might open up a bit as it's a derby and they're on form, so we might be able to play our best game against them, which I'm pretty much on board with. And to the same regard, but completely polar opposite, it's a tough match against Middlesbrough anyway because Sam Greenwood is playing against them. So yeah, Cabby, being the ever optimist, has said Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 2. Dean is saying 2-1 to Sunderland, and Croissant is saying 4-1 to Sunderland. As the resident neutral, David, what's your thoughts going into the game? Who's likely to pick up all 3 points, or is it? Yeah, what's your thoughts?
You're gonna slap him.
Yeah, okay. What makes you say that?
I just think you're playing as a team really well. I think if you're not new strikers, but your strikers that you have currently, who are, I mean, you've finally got strikers. I reckon if they keep doing what they're doing, keep training with the lads,
Mhm.
I reckon you're gonna be pretty good. So yeah, I mean, we already saw potential from your team, just from watching the games. You've been playing pretty decently. Your defense has gotten a lot better since last season. Your attacking has been decent. Set pieces have been questionable.
We've scored
That
directly
being
from
said,
one.
yeah. That being said, you did score a set piece, which is good.
Possible. It is possible. Need a centre
Yeah,
back in the box.
I reckon it's going to be a good game for Sunderland.
I'm agreeing with you on that one. We'll talk. Acacia's brought up another point because I'm going to just completely wipe that perception of the word derby because it's starting to bug me now across the internet. It is a derby. It is 100% a derby. It's just not a rivalry. Anyways, Graham, welcome along. Is he a boring supporter? Me? No, hopefully not. Do goofy things all the time to support my club. My perceptions of the Sunderland Boro game. I'm more leaning towards a open, confident game. I was watching a couple of their wins, their highlights. They are very vulnerable because they open themselves up to a good counter, and when they are on the counter, they are very easy to counter against. The prime game of that was the Watford game. Like, they were long ball through the middle and cutting past the defence. I don't think they'll be able to do that against Ballard or 09. We're just no nonsense. We'll keep our head switched onto the game. We might have a lapse in judgment at some point in the game because we're not perfect. We're not nowhere near like the ultimate team right now, but we're still going to stop 99% of all of the through balls that are coming from them. So yeah, I think Sunderland are, even though we've not won 3 on the bounce, we're still a lot higher up on the table. And essentially answering Robin Hood's question here, do you think this is a legit turnaround for Boro where they started, or will they start seriously pushing up the table now? And the answer to that is yes, but we are one of the teams in this league that every team is going to be quite concerned and set themselves up slightly different against. So I dare say Sunderland are better than Boro right now, at least on paper, and in reality as well, it's a better team to support. But we should be beating them. There's no two ways about it. We have our momentum, we have class, we have ability, we have people like Huggins, who can flip on a switch. When Ekwar's fit, when we've got a full match selection as well, I can't see this current Boro squad contesting anywhere close to Sunderland. And now I've said that, I've probably jinxed it and they'll beat us 1-0 like Cardiff did. But yeah, it's got to take an absolute horrific show and a nightmare from Sunderland for us to drop 3 points in this game. Croissant says we play best against teams that play football, to be honest. So every team, the way we've played this season, I'm becoming quietly confident in the P word. Oh, somebody, what, you streaming?
The odds for tomorrow's game.
Oh, okay. Let me have a look at that.
It's just loading.
There we go. So have we all gone through predictions? I know Jacob said his prediction for the game. Want to see your predictions for the game, David?
I can't remember what I said. Did I say 2-0?
You did say 2-0. That's what I've got written down, anyways. And Brad?
Then I said 2-0.
Cool.
I said 2-1.
And I think I said 2-0 as well. I think it's like not quietly confident. It's a confident time for Sunderland. Why not while we're on form? So what does this say to me? Because I have no idea what I'm reading here. It just says 13-10, 47-25. What on earth does that mean? What is it?
So it's got odds on who's going to win the game. So Sunderland's 13. So Sunderland's 13-10 to win the game, which is basically, I think it's nearly 2-1 to win. It's 1 over it to win.
So they're the same odds, just very, very slightly different. They're both about half.
Just very, very slightly different. Yeah, slightly.
Okay.
Yeah, very close.
Okay.
To each other.
Graham is saying a 3-1 win.
13-5.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at more than, is that sofa score? I think if you're looking at actual bookies odds, I think Sunderland are odds-on favourite to win it, as well.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
But I do have another question I want to add into this, and it does kind of tie into the last game against Watford, but it's kind of across the league as well. The refereeing decisions, in that game with the fouls, for me is quite concerning. I don't think they have player safety in mind anymore. They're just allowing players to like push people in the back onto billboards. They're allowing to kick them from behind, not punish them. It's just becoming more and more dangerous. Do you know what? I want to go to David because he's obviously quite livid with the Premier League quality of refereeing doing the same thing. Do you think it's a consistency? Do you think it's just consistently poor refereeing across the board, or is it just this?
I kind of already went into depth for this. I think with you in a private call.
Yes, you did.
I think the PGMOL should be scrapped. The entire of the current Premier League referees should be fired, and we should be getting in European non-biased referees to come into the Premier League and ref all of our games.
Okay. You know what I do like about it though? About the PGMOL, they're mic'd up. In the Championship and the lower leagues, there's no that error that happened with the Liverpool game the other day would never have been picked up. They could have made any excuse they wanted after the game. It wasn't. We didn't.
I mean,
think it was.
nothing's happened about it, by the way.
Yeah, but at least you know the conversation wasn't like.
Yeah,
it was just somebody.
Nothing's come of it.
Just somebody being really bad at their job. Whereas
he should never ref a game again.
Oh, it'll drop down to the Championship without a doubt. It'll drop out the Premier League.
What happens in general to referees if they're doing shit, they'll get demoted, won't they? But it's usually a one-off. I think if you get demoted, you should be there forever. Like that's the league you should be refereeing. You get what I mean?
Not really. What about promotion and relegation? That you can't just constantly get promoted in refereeing terms. You have to get relegated if you do bad, and vice versa. It's I don't know. Do they get paid more? Do the Premier League referees get paid more, David?
I wouldn't know. I don't think so. Let me have a look. Hang on.
Why would you want to go under that level of scrutiny to then switch it up? Just you'd assume top flight, more pressure. It's a slightly easier job on paper as well, right?
So Premier League refs' salary ranges from 70,000 to 200,000 a year, but they also get a bonus of 1,500 per match.
I know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm registering myself as a referee. Jesus, that is good money.
I'm going to have to go now, mate.
All right, no worries, mate. Thank you very much for joining us.
Catch you in a bit.
Catch you soon.
No worries. Catch you in a bit. See you later, Yorkshire. Take care, David.
Bye.
What about David? How much do you think they get paid? So Championship, League One, League Two?
Oh, probably not even after that.
I think Championship will get paid a decent amount, but League One and League Two, Jesus, they won't get paid too much, will they?
Yeah. But Graham says nobody's interested in the Liverpool thing anymore. Everybody gets ripped. It's just part of football.
It's different. It was so different. But I'm not going to go anymore.
World Cup when our goal got disallowed against Germany. It's a shit moment, but can't change it, can you?
Yeah, it does keep happening, but it's so easy to fix. All it takes is all it should take is somebody else going, "Look, you made a mistake here. Check it again." Like, if they're not willing to compromise and like correct their problems and their mistakes, then
So championship refs get about 35 to 45k a year with 600 per match. So literally almost half of what Premier League does.
So it is a demotion basically with that.
Yeah, massive demotion.
But like players' wages, Championship players get paid a decent amount.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I think it depends on which Championship club you're going at, but yeah, I think money in football is massively impacting and changing the game. You've just got to literally look at the league table from the parachute payment clubs to the ones that aren't, and you can literally see that massive disparity. It's not just down to players; it's down to player wages as well. You can draw a very, very parallel graph of wages versus position.
Yeah. It's not a tin pot league though, is it? Championship. It is a big division.
Yeah.
And it's better. It's better away days than when we were in League One. Innit? It's better than Fleetwood away. Innit? You know, like we'd prefer to go to Birmingham City away and that than Burton Albion away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Croissant really does bring up a nice thing to add on to here, by the way. In other games, in other sports, like rugby, you've got referees that are just respected. Their decision is final, and the players are like 10 times bigger and stronger than them, and could quite easily like cause a lot of physical damage to them. But they respect the referee's decision because the referees are mic'd up, and all of the VAR decisions are put on the screen. They're put on the big screens in the stadium. They're shown to the fans, so the fans know what they're seeing. Like the fans at the game. Like I think on TV it's a bit different. We can see the replays with the editors and stuff like that, so we can cause a little bit of like rumble and tumble upset from home, but that doesn't really impact like the fans getting on the back of the referee for making a horrible mistake. Maybe it's a little bit of that. So yeah, refs mic'd up, I think, is the easiest thing to possibly do. It's just give them all a phone and start recording the call. It's not that difficult in parent. Just get a Bluetooth. Just get an iPod. What are them called? Them bloody Bluetooth earphone things. Record a Teams call. Done. It's not even that expensive to implement. So yeah. Anyways, interesting. There is another question here. Well, not a question, just a statement from Graham here. Says, "My God, the international break does bust my nut in." So,
Well, no one can. England is shit.
No, it's not. It's not about England's performance, Scotland's performance. It's literally a breakup in the league. If you've got good momentum going into that break, i.e., if Sunderland beat Boro, that's what we climb into the top 3, maybe depending on the Ipswich Preston result. We could literally be a lot better off, looking like we're flying, and then like just step off the pedal because some of our players have went to the national clubs, got injured, and then there's our entire momentum just wiped out. I genuinely think international football should only be played in off seasons, but then every season across the globe has to be tied into each other. And like, was it the MLS starts in February?
Yeah. It's different in it with America. I think, yeah.
It's definitely different with America, mate. But it's such a weird modern way of playing football. Like, why does the entire EFL system need to break for 2 weeks just so a national team can play? 2 players out of a squad does not completely bust the squad. Maybe if you're Premier League, there's like 12 players going out of your 18-player squad, then yeah, fair enough. But for us, it's what? Huggins, Ballard, Jewison Bennett. I think that's it. Yeah. That is my alarm saying it's 10:30. You should be going to bed now.
I think from Northern Ireland. I think he's played for Northern Ireland.
Who?
A couple
Sorry,
of times. Trey Hume.
Trey Hume as well. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think there's a few other Northern Irish players in our squad that have gone to Northern Ireland for international break. So, you know, as well as Bennett and we've got them as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I said Hume, Ballard, and Jewison Bennett. So Huggins could be in that. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's going to completely wipe out the strength in our squad if we allow 4 out of our 28 players to go on international break. And yeah, you're going to have that less and less the further down the pyramid you go. So international breaks for me just don't work. Yeah, call me controversial or whatever, but I think international breaks should be a bit more flexible, and if clubs want to play each other, they should be able to use that international break weekend as to use it as a catch up. What do you think of that, David?
Say again.
The international break, if clubs want to, should be able to play in it. Do you know when the likes of
Yes, but
FA Cup games like add an extra game into the season? Why can't you use the international
yeah,
breaks to like catch up?
the issue is some teams have more players go to international than others, so it's kind of like, is it fair on teams to have to use reserve teams against other teams that like haven't got as many players going?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like let's say Plymouth want to play Blackburn Rovers, where they have very, very few international players. They're not allowed to play at the minute because it's an international break. It just feels like, you're not allowed to study during the school holidays. That's the kind of vibe I get from it.
Personally, I think the international football is just a bloody joke anyway. I know quite a lot of footballers I know a lot of Premier League footballers these days just don't bother, like they just opt out of it because it's like, well, if we've got if we're taking a 2-week break, I'm going to be spending it at my club training with them. I'm not going to go risk an injury that's going to put me up for the rest of the season.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if there were two teams that were going to play and neither of them would like have massive losses to it, then yeah, I don't see the harm in them doing the game. They'll just be a game ahead of everyone, but I don't really see a problem with it.
Yeah, like they could. Do you know when there's got that condensed weeks where it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday? They could just spread it out over the year at a pace that suits them. But yeah, that's not a problem for us to worry about. I guess it's just a thought that we've had. Have you seen who Southgate's picked? No. And to be honest, if it's nobody in Sunderland, I generally don't care. It's probably going to be the same people week in, week out, isn't it?
I've seen the squad.
Is it Calvin Phillips again, who's not played for Man City? Trippier, Kane, Maguire. What's the Ramsdale from Arsenal? I think it's just going to be the same players. He's got his favourites now.
I've got it up actually. I'm jumped to explain the whole squad, like who he's got.
Yeah, go for it. Like for me, the England national team, I want them to succeed because it's the country I'm from. But I don't think we have that kind of like expectation on our club to.
I think quite a lot of English fans just don't give a shit about internationals.
During the World Cup, I do. During the Euros, I do. But the qualifiers, friendlies, nah, I'm bored.
So yeah, we've got Pickford, Sam Johnstone. These are goalkeepers. Aaron Ramsdale, but at the back we've got Lewis Dunk, Louis Colwill, Harry Maguire, John Stones, Mark Guhi,
Gihai from Everton.
Yeah, Kieran Trippier, Walker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jude Bellingham, Conor Gallagher, Henderson, Rice, Calvin Phillips. Then up front we've got Foden, Bowen, Grealish, Kane, Maddison, Eddie Nketiah, Rashford, Ollie Watkins. There is some in there Southgate's favourites like Maguire, for example.
Yeah.
You know,
some of them have passed their prime as well in their club. Yeah.
He's getting on now, Henderson.
Henderson doesn't even play in England anymore.
No, imagine if he Sunderland in January, ends his career at Sunderland in January. Just come to Sunderland in January transfer.
Why would he do that? He's getting paid millions in the Arab leagues.
Yeah, but Saudi Arabia's a shithole. Don't know why he'd want to live there.
Money,
mate. He's getting paid like 200 million for a year of football.
It's like he's earned less. He's earned more in this 1 year in that football league than he has like the last decade at Liverpool.
He's on 700,000 a week.
I wonder why he wants to play in a crap league.
I wonder why he went to Saudi.
And he's not even expected to perform, you know. Yeah, King Edits ready for tomorrow. However, lads, we are approaching about the hour mark, and I think we should wrap it up soon. Do you have any final questions or thoughts that you think would be good to pick up before the watch along tomorrow? Because it is an early start for us. I want to make sure I'm well rested and energetic for it. So, do you have any questions? Points.
No, Jack Clark's gonna score a banger.
Jack Clark from a free kick.
Nah, but if he scores, I bet.
He's gonna try and dribble past like
19
3,
players.
4 defenders, and on like the 5th try, he's gonna get it in the net.
There's going to be a pitch invasion of Boro fans, and he's dribbling past every single one of them who's trying to slide tackle him, and he still gets it in the back of the net. That'd be class. We will get promoted. Tomorrow is a sellout, which actually surprised me because we're on telly and it's an early kickoff. I know it's just a sellout is what we roughly expecting with our current run of form.
What time is the kickoff?
12:30. 12:30 kickoff. So
I won't be able to watch. I got D&D.
That's sad.
It is. I'll watch it on my second monitor.
So Graham says Hendo was escorted from the training ground in Liverpool when he got the offer from the leagues. But we don't want to talk about promotion yet. No, we don't, Graham, because it will jinx us. We're only 10 games into the season, which is just shy of 25% of the way through the season. So don't get too carried away, but it is good positive signs for some. So I'm going to end it there. Thank you very much for tuning in, for listening, for chatting in the live stream as well. I'll catch you tomorrow morning for the watch along. And well, lads, thank you very much.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
We have dominated every game. Got unlucky a couple of times.